Hi everyone, my name is Mary and this is Quinn Ink. And today we're going to learn how to make this summer daisy bracelet. Now the stitch that we're going to be using in the summer daisy bracelet is going to be called the Primrose Stitch, because you're going to have these little flower beds at the bottom and then these cute little rose petals at the top. So that will be the stitch for the entire bracelet. I'm also going to teach you how to crochet these cute little buttonholes. We're going to show you how to sew on these two little buttons. I'm going to show you how to crochet this cute little daisy flower and how to sew it on. And I'm also going to teach you how to put these cute little beads on as well as an option. So those are some added options, are the beads and the flower. If not, you can just have it a plain little bracelet and it'll be the length of your wrist. Well, actually more like the width of your wrist. Okay, so if you want to learn how to make this cute summer daisy bracelet, let's get started. In order to start this project, tools that you're going to be needing, this one is going to be a sewing needle, and this one will actually fit your beads. So this is an option if you would like to be putting beads onto your bracelet. You're also going to need two buttons. I have a purple button and I also have a nice little pink button right here. We also have another needle, and this one is going to be a yarn needle so you can sew in all of your strings. I have two crochet hooks. One of them is a 5mm hook, so if you want to make it a little bit bigger, that's a good crochet hook to use. If you wanted to make it a little smaller, you have a G6 4.25mm hook. So that one is also a good one to use. You're also going to be needing a pair of scissors as well to be cutting your yarn thread in order to thread your beads. And then the very last thing you will need is some yarn. So I'm using some scrap yarn that's aquamarine. I also have the two back here for the flowers. This one is called Yarnspirations Karen Simply Soft, and this one is going to be in the soft pink. It's hard to see it. There you go. You are not going to be needing very much of this as we are only doing one little daisy. And then you're also going to need Yarnspirations Karen Simply Soft, and I believe this one is called Fuchsia. And you will not need very much of this as well. This will be in the middle of the flower, and then the pink will be the petals. So those are all of the tools that you will be needing in order to get started. Everything is an option. You don't have to put a flower on, and you do not have to put any beads on if you don't want to. You can just make it in one color like aquamarine, purple, blue, green, and you can use the 5.5mm hook if you'd like. You can also use bigger hooks to much smaller hooks as well. Alrighty, so let's get started. Okay, so in order to start our bracelet, we're going to grab our aqua yarn and we're going to grab our 5mm hook. And we're going to make a slip knot. So you're going to take your yarn, wrap it around your two fingers, and make a circle. Pull the yarn behind that circle, pull your hook behind that yarn, and just pull up on the two. And that is how you make a slip knot. Pulling up on it nicely. Take your tail out of the way, and we're going to do a foundation single crochet of 9. I'm just going to show you how to do 3 of those. So in order to start it, you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. You're going to go back into that very first stitch, grab a loop, pull it up, grab your working yarn, go through that next loop and pull up another loop. Grab your working yarn and pull through 2. You just made a single crochet and a chain. We are working on the bottom, so when you flip it over, this is what it looks like. So you're going to go under these 2 bars that look like an X, put your hook in there, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, grab your working yarn, pull up another loop, grab your working yarn and pull through 2 loops. That's 2 single crochets, as you can see, 1 and 2. I'm going to go back under those 2 bars again, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. When you're doing that, you're actually forming a chain. Then when you grab your working yarn and you pull through both loops, you're creating that single crochet. So that way you have 3 stitches and 3 chains. And I'm eliminating 2 steps, which would be chaining and then single crocheting. So I'm doing both steps at once. And when you're working on the very bottom, you're going to go right back into this stitch right here closest to your hook. Just like this. Creating that first chain. And then creating that single crochet. And that is how you do it. And then when you're done, you're going to flip it over and you'll be working on the top stitches. Okay, so I'm going to do 9 of these. I've already done 4. So I'm going to do 5 of them and then I will be back. And this is the 9 foundation single crochet that I just did. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 to start the stitch, and you're going to go back into this first stitch right here. We're going to do a single crochet, chain 2, and you're going to go back into that stitch for a single crochet, just like this. You're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third stitch you're going to do a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet right into that stitch, skip 2, third stitch, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, so we're at the last stitch right here, and all we're going to do is put a half double crochet right into there. And then now we're going to chain 3, turn our work, and into these chain 2 spaces we're going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And this is going to start the primrose stitch. And what they mean by primrose stitch is that you have these little flower beds down here, and then this is your flower petals. So that is your primrose. Skip 2 stitches and into the chain 2, 3 double crochets. And 3. Skip 2 stitches into the chain 2, 3 double crochets. Now since we're nearing the end, we're going to find that chain 1 that we did from the previous row, and we're going to put a double crochet right into that chain 1 stitch. So this one right here on the top. You can see it because it looks like a stitch. 1 double crochet. And that was row 3. So row 1 is the foundation single crochet, row 2 is the single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and row 3 is the 3 double crochets. You're actually going to repeat row 3 and row 4. I'm going to do row 4 right now. You're going to chain 2, turn your work, you're going to skip 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and into the third stitch you're going to put a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Chain 2, single crochet. And when you're doing that, you're going to put it on the top of the middle double crochet from the previous row. So we did 3 double crochets into that second double crochet right there. That is where you're going to put your single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. You're going to skip 2 stitches into the third, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, skip 2 stitches into the 3rd stitch, single crochet, whoop, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. You're going to skip 1 stitch, and into the top of that first chain right there, you're going to do a half double crochet. This. So you're going to repeat row 3 and 4 over and over again for however long that you would like it. I'm going to do these 2 rows, and I'm going to come back and show you how many rows I've done. I'm back and I did 14 rows, as you can see here. So when you finish off, it doesn't matter if you finish off on a petal row or if you finish off on the flower bed row. Either one is fine. It's not going to mess this up, and it'll still look nice. Okay, so instead of fastening off, the next thing we're going to do is make a border. And we're going to do a single crochet row all the way around this bracelet. So to start the border row, you're going to chain 1, and what you're pretty much going to be doing is looking for holes that you're going to be putting single crochets into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this hole right here. I'm just going to put a single crochet right into that one. It doesn't matter where you put the single crochets. Into this chain 3, I'm going to put 2 single crochets, just like that, and then I'm going to find another hole, probably like something like that. I'm going to put a single crochet into. And then I'll put one right into this one right here. Just make sure that you are consistent on one side as you are on the other. Or wherever you're going to put your single crochets into the spaces, make sure you do it on this side as well, so that way you have consistency. Okay, so we're going to do 2 single crochets into this space right here. Okay, so I've got 1 single crochet in here. I'm going to put another single crochet right into here, and then into this bigger space I'm going to put a single crochet right into here, and into this smaller little hole I'm going to put a single crochet right into there. And you don't have to follow what I'm doing. If you feel that you want to do it differently, you can. So you don't have to follow this exactly, so everything looks nice and consistent. And it looks all nice and even as well. So I'm going to go across the top here, and when I get to my little tail, I will come right back. Okay, so I'm getting closer to the edge here. It looks like I have 2 spaces right here. So I'm going to put a single crochet right into that space, and then the one right next to it, I'm going to end up putting 3 single crochets into that space. The 3 single crochets are going to help us turn the corner, and when you do this, try to go slowly. So I'm going to try and go a little bit slower as I'm turning the corner. There we go. So that's 3 single crochets into that corner. Now that we have these stitches on the top here, I'm actually going to go into these spaces right here and put single crochets in. And the reason for that is because it's a little bit difficult to get your hook into these little spaces on the top. You can actually do whatever you like, either one is fine. So all you're going to do is single crochet all the way onto the top right here until you get to the edge, and then you're going to put 3 single crochets into here, and then you're going to turn. And what I was talking about consistency was you're going to put a single crochet here, 2 into the chain 3, a single crochet into here, looks like a single crochet into this one. This small little hole right here is going to have a single crochet, 2 single crochets. So you're pretty much going to have consistency on the bottom as you would on the top right here. So I'm going to finish that, and when I'm done, I will show you what to do once we get to this top part right here. Okay, so I'm back, everyone, and I'm finally at the very top, and I'm almost done. So now we need to turn the corner. Now this one's going to be a little tricky because when you look at it, you're going to have your chain 2 right here. You're going to have your single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is find that chain 2 right here, and you're going to want to put 3 single crochets right in there. So 1, 2, and 3. And that is how you turn the corner. And then what I ended up doing was putting a single crochet right into that single crochet right here, and then putting 2 single crochets into the chain 2, 1 and 2, another single crochet into that single crochet, and then also a single crochet into the next single crochet, 2 single crochets into the chain 2, 1 and 2, and then so on and so forth until you get to the very first single crochet that we did. So I'm going to finish up and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're at the very end, and I just put a single crochet in that last single crochet, and then over here we have, looks like another single crochet right here, so I am going to put a slip stitch right into there, and that should finish it off. We are now going to start making these straps for the buttons. So we're not going to fasten off, we're just going to chain 1, and we are going to turn our work. And since we're going to have 2 buttons, we're going to have 2 straps, one on this side and one on this side. Okay, so in order to do this, we are going to, I'm going to single crochet right into this one right here. That's what I'm going to do. That'll give me a nice base. And I think what I'm going to do is grab my buttons, and I'm going to take my little button and pull this out real quick, and I'm going to put it right underneath the stitches, because I want to know how many stitches will go across this button. Because let's say my button is right here and we want a little strap that goes around it, I want to make sure that the strap is big enough and it's wide enough. Okay, so it looks like I saw 2 stitches. So we have the 2 stitches right here, and I am going to start chaining. So I'm going to chain about, I'm going to say about 3. And we're going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet right into that stitch right there. Okay, and so now we have a big wide space for our button to go into. For the next one, what we're going to do is I think I'm going to single crochet into this one and make sure to skip those 2. So all I have to do is, it looks like I have to slip stitch 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so let's slip stitch 1, 2, 3, and let me make sure, and 4. Okay, and to this one right here, I'm going to put a single crochet. Whoop. we're going to put a single crochet right into that one, and again I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet right into this stitch. Just like that. And we have another big space for our buttons. So we have 2 spaces. Now I'm feeling these are a little flimsy, so I am going to single crochet back over these stitches. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to turn our work. I'm going to go back into that single crochet. These stitches that I just made, I am also going to single crochet into them. Now you also have another stitch right here, and it looks all tiny. So you're going to go right into that stitch and single crochet right into it. We're going to do the same with this one. And we're going to do the same with this one as well. Single crocheting right back into it. And then we have another single crochet. I'm going to single crochet right into this stitch. Here we go. Now we slip stitched across. We're going to do that again. Now you'll see stitches on the side here, and you'll also see stitches on the top. I normally just go right into the stitches on the top like this, or wherever I can insert my hook where it will allow me to. And we did this 4 times. Slip stitch into these 2 stitches right here. So wherever you can get your hook into. So if you can do it into these 2 bars right here, I would do it. Okay. And this one is number 3. And then the very last one is going to be number 4. The other thing you can do is, you see this big nice hole right there, you can also slip stitch right into there as well, if nowhere else will allow you to. Now we're back at the single crochet, and we're going to single crochet into this one, and we're going to single crochet into this one right here. And we're also going to single crochet into this one and this one. And then we also have a single crochet right here, so we're also going to single crochet into that one as well. Pull this out, and this is what your button spaces are going to look like. Now we're going to fasten off, and we're actually going to sew on the buttons. Okay, so I'm back, and I've already threaded my needle. Make sure that when you are going to be sewing on your buttons, that your needle can actually go right through the hole with no problems. You don't want your needles to be too big. Or if you'd like, have bigger button holes for bigger needles. Okay, so I have my 2 buttons right here. We have our threaded needle right here. Now the next thing that we're going to do is the button spaces are right here, and right on this side is where we're going to put our buttons. And what I like to do is fold my bracelet like this and try and see where the buttons are going to go. So it looks like on this one the button's going to go right here. The button looks like it's going to go right here into this hole. So now that we know that we have these 2 big massive holes, we're going to take our button, and we see that it kind of worked. Now you can always put your button up further if you would like to make it tighter. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the button right here. The other thing you also want to do is take a look at your bag and see if you want, I'm going to zoom in and show you. So on this side the stitches are kind of popping out. Whereas if you turn them over, they look like they're curling in. So you have to decide which side you want your buttons on, if you want them over here or if you want them over here. And I honestly like the stitches that are popping out like this instead of curling in. So I'm going to put my button over here. Now that we know where we are going to want the buttons, you're going to grab your needle, and I always like to come up from behind like this. And I'm just going to show you how to thread just this button, and then you will do the other button. And so we're going to turn it over, and you just want to turn it over and see if you're going through any of the stitches. So we want to press those stitches together and try to go back through the buttonhole and pull it through this side. So it looks like I'm not going through any stitches right now, and that is okay. So we're going to pull it through, and I am actually going to take my needle and open up a hole like this and try to pull it through to keep it tight, is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and keep these stitches together, and then I'm going to go back up through the button like this, and I'm going to go back down, looking behind to make sure that my stitches are still there. Also feeling to see if it's working pretty nicely, looking behind to see if I've gone through any of the stitches. And what I like to do is I like to thread this about twice to give it more of a secure. Come back through and right back down. And that's all I'm doing. And it's going to be black behind here, that's okay. So in order to tie this off, I go up through the top right here of my stitches and then just kind of push it through. Just like this. And you're going to have that little hole, let it come through and kind of tighten. And then I go right back up through. So I'm going to go back up through here like this. And each person has a different way of how they like to sew buttons on. I always have different ways of doing it. So this is what I'm doing now, as you can see. And then I'm pulling the needle up through like this. And now I'm going to make my knot. And I'm going to go right through that hole, pull on this yarn, and pull up a loop. And then I'm going to keep pulling until I make another loop like this. And then I'm just going to keep pulling my yarn until it's nice and tight. And I hold it with my thumb, the knot, and then I pull up on it. And then I just turn this around, just go back up through the bottom like this. And I grab my needle and I pull it right through. Then I just take my scissors and I clip it. It's like a little tail piece. If you don't like the little tail pieces, I suggest just clipping them. Be really careful that you don't clip your yarn as well. So there's your little pieces. Now we're going to zoom it out and we're going to test it. So there's a little button. Here's our buttonhole. And we're going to pull it right over, just like that. And we're going to see how that works out. So I'm going to put it on my wrist and see if I like that. Now we know there's going to be another button over here. Now this is kind of loose, and that's okay. I don't like my stuff too tight. but I like it a little loose, and it's going to be loose. Now the other thing that you can do is if you do not like it up here, you can put your button down here and you can actually have it a little tighter, because you do have to remember that your yarn is going to stretch. Okay, so if you like it loose like I have it, you can leave it. If you want it tighter, you can move the button down and make sure that they're both on the same level. So that way when your buttonholes come up, they both come up at the same time like this. So if you want it tighter and you know that it's going to get loose over time. So that is another thing that you can do. I am going to put my other button on. I might actually move it down here. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I might actually move it down here. Same with this one. This one is going to be on the petal row instead of the single crochet row. Okay, when I'm done, I will come back and show you.